A new partnership has been formalised between Statistics New Zealand and Tātau Tātau o te Wairoa, or TTOTW, the post-settlement governance entity for Te Rote o te Wairoa, in an effort to improve conversations and decision-making for current and future generations. Tātau Tātau o te Wairoa Chair Leon Symes no rongo mai wahine Ngāti Kahungunu is with us now. Tēnā koe, Leon. Thanks for joining us.
Tēnā koe, Neil.
How do you expect this partnership will help move Tātau Tātau o te Wairoa into the future?
Well, I think what we learned through the cyclone and that where access to data was key, getting access to information. So knowing stats that holds that kind of information, we were wanting to make sure that that partnership continues on, access to that information continues on through into BAU, business as usual activities. So we're just trying to make sure we're getting access to information to make better informed decisions going forward into the future.
And Statistics New Zealand will be providing targeted resources and support to TTOTW. What do you expect this to look like?
Well, I think it's setting up what those systems are. I think, Neil, this is one of the first kind of arrangements or partnerships that Stats NZ's had with particularly iwi Māori. So we're looking to develop what those relationship to access information looks like. You know, the census data wasn't quite there in 2018 and post that, and it's not looking that flash either. So if we can be a bridge between our whanau and Stats NZ about collecting information, I think that's going to make, decisions going forward a lot more efficient and detailed around what's required in terms of activities and programs.
Leon, how crucial then is the current census for the future of Tātau Tātau o te Wairoa?
It's very important, Neil, because obviously those information that is collected during the census is utilised in making policy and decisions in central government level. But we're looking more to be a more long-term, continuing on, gathering data on an ongoing basis rather than having the census every 4 years. If we can be in a position where we're collecting data on an ongoing basis, then we can make sure that information is relevant and timely and up to date.
What are some of the key projects TTOTW is currently working through, particularly around housing development, horticulture and trade training?
Yeah, so those particular projects around horticulture and housing are our two key economic drivers for the region, for Wairoa in particular, knowing that we've got a housing shortage prior to the cyclone, and now that with the cyclone we've actually doubled the housing need. So we've made that obviously a priority to get housing going. And then on the employment side, horticulture is where we're seeing diversification within the Wairoa region as a key driver, land change utilisation. So both of those particular initiatives require a lot of information gathering in terms of collecting data to then develop, to monitor, to obviously plan and work a way forward so we can make sure we are developing these initiatives in such a way that it is structured for the need of the whanau.
Well, let's take a look now at the forestry slash report released last week, headed by Hekea Parata. What are your thoughts around this?
I think it was an excellent report. It came out with all the recommendations we fully support in terms of what the inquiry landed on. I know that we met directly with the inquiry group. We are in a position, we've inherited some Crown Forest licence lands which have pine radius on it as our partners at Duke and Nisho on that. So we were looking at how can we look to, I guess, transition or pivot some of these entities into the future, and what would that look like? We just want to make sure that we're doing best by Papatūānuku and our Te Tāo to make sure that we're not contributing towards some of these issues. So we fully support the recommendations in the report, and then know that we need a consistent regulatory framework to make sure that it keeps these forestry companies honest in terms of when they go to do the planting and the harvesting.
So what role do you see then for Tātau Tātau o te Wairoa in monitoring forestry companies?
Yes, definitely. That's where we want to sit, Neil, is in that monitoring space, making sure they live up to our expectations, our values, our principles. There's been a little bit of a lack on that monitoring side from our councils, our TLAs, who are tasked with that responsibility. So we see that And we probably want to push central government in providing some resource for us to be in that space to make sure that we can hold these companies to account. And they are just not there, we are just a tick box, because currently we just receive applications after the thought, post activity. We want to be involved right up the front in terms of where these trees go, what impact they'll have on the environment, and then during the harvest, how they're going to be harvested, and what kind of harvest practices will they be employing.
Well, now you've officially got this partnership set up. Where to from here? What are next steps?
I think we're just looking at next steps is developing, I guess, some information flows in terms of getting access to what data currently Stats has and can provide. That's the key. So we've partnered up with Walker Scott and Microsoft as our technology partners to undertake some work and I guess receiving the information and then presenting it to our members. So this is all about how you present that information. As you know, Neil, some of the statistics is a negative thought. Always looking at the negative statistics. We know what the negative statistics are. We don't need to highlight the negative statistics. We want to look at where the positives lie and when we can build on those positives to build positive initiatives, not look at our negative statistics that tend to dominate the media in terms of where Wairoa sits in terms of health, criminal activities and likes.
Yeah, beautiful. Tātau Tātau o te Wairoa Chair, Leon Symes, thank you so much for joining us today. Ngā mihi.
Ngā mihi. Kia ora. Thank you, Neil.